From above, the Sahara appears eternal, an endless golden ocean, waves of sand frozen in time, stretching farther than the eye can follow. It seems lifeless, unchanging, absolute. But what if I told you, this desert is not what it seems? Beneath these dunes, beneath this silence, there's a ghostly map written into the earth. A hidden world of rivers that once roared with power, lakes as vast as countries, and even inland seas that shimmered under a different sky. A forgotten network, now buried, that once carried life across a land we only think of as empty. Imagine this. Hippos basking in deep pools where now only mirages flicker. Crocodiles slipping silently between reed beds where only dust storms swirl today. Hunters gliding in slender boats across waterways so wide they could rival the Mississippi.
These waters feed us, and they will never end.
Waters that no longer exist, but whose traces still run beneath our feet. For centuries, only fragments survived. Whispers in rock art, echoes in legend, memories carved into stone. But now, satellites, radar, and science itself are peeling back the desert's disguise and revealing what ancient memory never forgot. That the Sahara was once alive. This is not the story of a desert. This is the story of a river system so vast, so improbable, that it changes everything we thought we knew about the world's greatest wilderness. This is the story of the lost rivers beneath the Sahara. The Sahara, a desert so vast it swallows nations whole, spanning 11 countries, stretching wider than the continental United States. It is the largest hot desert on Earth. From horizon to horizon, it is a kingdom of silence and fire. Where the air itself seems to shimmer and tremble under the weight of the sun. Here, temperatures soar past 50 degrees Celsius. The winds sweep endlessly, carving dunes the size of skyscrapers, their golden ridges rising and collapsing like frozen waves on a lifeless sea. Life survives only in fragments, at the edges, in scattered oases, or in ancient riverbeds that have been dry for thousands of years. To journey across the Sahara is to step into a world where survival is the exception, not the rule. And so, to us, the Sahara feels eternal, a place defined not by what it contains, but by what it lacks. A place of absence, of emptiness, of silence so vast it feels like the end of the world. But the silence is deceptive. For buried beneath these shifting dunes, beneath this seemingly endless desert, lies a memory. A hidden world frozen in time. Evidence tells us that this same land once held rivers larger than the Nile, and lakes so wide they could rival inland seas. Hippos once wallowed here. Crocodiles once cut paths through reed beds. Human hands once built villages, fished the rivers, and carved their stories into the stone. Imagine it. The harshest desert on Earth today, transformed into a landscape of water, green valleys, and flowing life.
This land swallows all who do not respect it.
The spirits of our ancestors still whisper across these sands. For generations, we have sought the truth among these shifting sands.
What if this desert once carried more water than all the rivers of Europe combined? The answer lies hidden in the ground beneath us, waiting to be uncovered. A forgotten chapter of Earth's history. And only now, with the tools of modern science, are we beginning to rediscover this truth.
They are here again, walking the ancient path.
From above, the Sahara appears uniform, endless, and eternal. An ocean of dunes stretching farther than the eye can see. To the naked eye, it is only emptiness. But when science pierced the veil of sand, something astonishing emerged. Using satellite radar and ground-penetrating scans, scientists began to peel back the layers of this desert, revealing a hidden map. Beneath the dunes lay the ghostly scars of rivers, some wider than the Mississippi, some stretching thousands of kilometers, a vanished highway of water that once shaped this land. These are the paleochannels, fossil rivers. Silent now, but once alive, carving valleys, feeding lakes, and sustaining life. Their paths are so vast that only from space can their full story be seen. And then, in the very heart of the desert, came a revelation even greater. Evidence of a lost inland sea, a body of water so immense it dwarfed anything alive today. Scientists call it Mega Lake Chad. At its peak, it spread over 350,000 square kilometers, larger than modern Germany.
Good idea. The radar shows interesting anomalies.
A freshwater world where fish swam and waves crashed in what is now nothing but dust. But the Sahara is not only a memory. Even today, hidden beneath its scorching sands lie vast aquifers, ancient reservoirs of fossil water sealed away for tens of thousands of years. Locked, waiting, like the desert itself is guarding a secret that belongs to both past and future.
Okay, that matches the radar.
Good. Now let's mark the next point.
We're right over the anomaly.
Confirmed. Let's mark it.
Seen through modern instruments, the Sahara transforms. The empty surface fades away, replaced by glowing veins of water and ghostly lakes shimmering under the sand. It is like an X-ray of Earth itself, showing not a desert of death, but a forgotten landscape of rivers, lakes, and life, still alive in memory, still waiting to be told. Between 14,000 and 5,000 years ago, the Sahara was no desert. It was alive, threaded with rivers so vast they rivaled the Nile itself.
Look at all this water!
The river gives us life, and we honor it with our labor.
The greatest of them all was the
This river provides
Tamanrasset,
for us.
a river more than 200 kilometers long.
We are thankful.
Imagine a torrent of water surging westward, carving a green highway across what is now barren sand, before emptying into the Atlantic Ocean. Along its banks, life flourished in staggering abundance. Herds of elephants trampled the savanna grasses. Hippos wallowed in the shallows, their backs glistening in the sun. Crocodiles lurked in reeds, while migratory birds darkened the skies in great flocks. These animals were not visitors, strays blown off course. They were residents. They belonged
river
here.
gives us life.
The river gives us life.
The Sahara was their kingdom, but it was not only an animal paradise. People lived here too. Families built homes
This
of
river
reed
truly
and clay
sustains us.
along the water's edge. Children played by the shore.
So much life here.
The river is calm today.
Yes, a beautiful morning for travel.
Hunters paddled simple boats across wide currents, casting nets into waters teeming with fish. To them, this was not the Sahara Desert. It was their world, their garden. Today, all we see is emptiness. Dunes stretch where water once roared. But with modern 3D maps, scientists can peel back time itself. One side of the screen shows what we know, an ocean of sand. The other reveals what once was, a green paradise carved by rivers long gone.
We must work together.
It is time to harvest the grains.
The river is older than our fathers' fathers.
What we now call the harshest desert on Earth was, not so long ago, a fertile corridor, where rivers flowed like arteries through the beating heart of North Africa. They were not wanderers in a wasteland. They were river people. Along the banks of the great Saharan rivers, Neolithic cultures flourished. Villages of reed and clay huts clustered by the water's edge. Smoke from hearth fires rose into the dawn air, while the lowing of cattle carried across the floodplains. Goats and sheep grazed freely among the huts, their bells chiming like the heartbeat of daily life. On the water, fishermen glided silently in reed canoes, their nets sinking deep into the river's current. With each haul of wriggling fish, families were fed, stories were shared, and traditions were kept alive. But their true history was not written on parchment. It was carved into the very bones of the desert. Across cliffs and caves, they painted their lives in ochre and stone.
The river is our mother. She gives and she takes.
May your journey be peaceful.
We honor your spirit.
herds of cattle, long lines of boats, hunts, feasts, and rituals. A diary not of words, but of images that still speak across thousands of years. And when the sun set, firelight gathered them together. Rituals of dance, chants, and offerings bound their communities. They called on the rivers for blessing, on the skies for rain, on the spirits for protection. Burials were not an ending, but a continuation. Graves filled with beads, shells, and gifts, promising that the river's abundance flowed beyond death itself.
The sky remembers what the river forgets.
This is the way of our people.
Yes, it ensures our survival.
What today looks like a desert of silence was once alive with laughter. The rhythm of drums, the splash of paddles, and the chants of a people who called the rivers home. It was not absence, it was abundance. Then, around 5,000 years ago, the balance began to break. The rains faltered. At first, only a season was missed. But soon the skies closed altogether. The monsoons that had once painted the desert green no longer came. Rivers shrank into narrow trickles. Trickles dried into dust. Once rich floodplains cracked open under a merciless sun. The sound of hippos vanished. The birds flew elsewhere. The water buffalo and elephants trudged southward, leaving behind bones on dry riverbeds. For the people, the change was unbearable. Wells emptied, fish nets came back dry. Fields that once glowed green with grass turned to yellow wastelands. Families gathered what they could carry, clay pots, carved tools, beads of memory, and began long migrations. Some followed the dying rivers east, toward the Nile. Others pushed south into the Sahel.
The river has gone. We must follow the sun.
And some, broken by the drought, left only silence, empty hearths, abandoned huts, and fading art on rock walls.
We must leave, quickly now.
Yes, the river is gone.
The Sahara was not destroyed in an instant. It was abandoned, step by step, family by family, as its rivers withered into ghosts. The desert swallowed the water, but it did not erase it. Beneath the dunes, the channels still sleep, dry veins waiting, perhaps, for the rains to return. It was not just the death of rivers. It was the death of a world. Though the rivers of the Green Sahara are gone, their memory still lingers beneath the desert sands. Deep underground, ancient aquifers hold the last remnants of that vanished age. The Nubian Sandstone Aquifer, a hidden ocean, sealed away for tens of thousands of years, now sustains millions across North Africa. In the late 20th century, Libya dared to awaken it, building the great man-made river, a colossal engineering dream, pulling fossil water from the desert's depths to feed its cities. But fossil water is no ordinary resource. It does not refill with the rains. Once drained, it is gone forever, like drinking from the veins of a ghost. And today, as nations confront drought, population growth, and climate change, the legacy of the green Sahara feels hauntingly close. Because the same questions return. Who controls the water? Who gets to drink and who must go thirsty? The wells we draw from are memories. When they are gone, only the sand will remain. The Green Sahara is not just a story of the past. It is a mirror held up to our future, a reminder that every civilization rises and falls on the rhythm of water. But the story of the Saharan rivers is not finished. Even now, satellites peer beneath the dunes, sketching out forgotten waterways, vast arteries that once carried life across what we call wasteland. Some are longer than the Thames, others broader than the Nile's tributaries, now buried under mountains of sand. They remind us that the Sahara we see today is only the surface, a mask hiding a deeper memory.
Will they return?
How many more veins of water remain undiscovered? How many more rivers slumber in silence, waiting for someone or something to wake them? Scientists wonder, could the Sahara bloom again? Climate shifts once turned desert into grassland and grassland back into desert. If the monsoons were to shift once more, if the rains returned as they did 10,000 years ago, could rivers rise again from the sand? Our tools are sharper than ever. Satellite radar, ground-penetrating scans, artificial intelligence, each revealing new traces of the past. Yet every discovery deepens the mystery. The more we uncover, the less certain the future becomes. We drank from these waters. We followed their flow. Will they come back to us? The Sahara is not a dead land. It is a land between worlds, desert and garden, silence and song. And perhaps one day the rivers will speak again.
Water once sang here. It may sing again.
We are the children of water, and water always finds a way. Perhaps one day the hidden veins of this desert will flow again. Until then, they remain whispers beneath the sand, waiting for us to listen.